Alright guys, Semphis here. This is take 37 of this video because I keep making them way too confusing. So I'm going to try to simplify this version. So this is a very basic way to calculate your calories and then your macros and how much you should eat on your training day versus rest day. Alright, so you're going to go to one of these calculator sites. It doesn't have to be this one. This one's a little bit more thorough. So you can go in here, plug in all your information. Um, Keep in mind these are not going to be 100% accurate. No matter how accurately you fill them out, they're always going to be off a little bit. Like for example, for myself, I always need more food than it says that I am, or I lose weight too quickly. But I also have more muscle mass than the site probably thinks I do. Whereas someone like that's never trained, or they're a beginner or something, or they have take a long time off the gym, they might need less food than it says. So keep in mind it's going to take you 1 to 2 weeks to really dial in everything, which is why I always say when you start a diet, stick to it as hard as possible for the first 2 weeks. If you want to start having a cheat day or something, at least be strict for 2 weeks to figure out how much calories you actually need, because it's going to make your life a lot easier in the future, in terms of how much you actually know how to eat, how many calories you actually need. So if you go for 6 days and then you eat a burger and fries and a giant milkshake, you might have undone the other good 6 days. Maybe the 6 days, if you would have kept on the 7, you would have lost 1 pound, but you negated it all by your cheat day, right? So whether or not you want a cheat day or not, I don't really care. The point is, stick to it for 2 weeks to see how your body responds, because you're going to flush out some water. You're going to get, if you're eating like pizzas and burgers all the time, Chipotle, really high sodium foods, blah blah blah, you are going to lose some water weight. It's not going to be fat before you can really stabilize. Once you've stabilized your weight, so like say you weigh 200 pounds, the first week you might lose 5 pounds, the next week you might lose 2. That's probably the calories you need to be on the week 2. Like you're probably close at this point. Whereas the first week you don't really know, whether it's water, if it's fat, So 2 weeks, pretty good. Now, if the first week you weigh 200 pounds and you lose like 8 pounds, that's too much. But you get my point. You just want to be consistent for the first 2 weeks. So you fill these out. You're likely all going to be wrong on this. I'm probably wrong on myself. Most people are 5% more body fat than they think. If you want a good video, check out Greg Doucette's body fat percentage video. He does a very in-depth video on all the stuff and how DEXA scans are wrong and stuff. And for the most part, I agree, because I've been to the gym and people come up to me and they're like, "I'm 7% body fat, bro." And it's like, no, you're not. If you were 7% body fat, you'd be able to step on stage in like 2 weeks. So if they don't look like they're ready to step on stage at a bodybuilding show, they're likely above 10% body fat. When you're under 8% body fat, you have striations on your shoulders and shit. And you have fully detailed abs. So anyways, that's just besides the point. Don't lie on these things. You're only hurting yourself if you lie. Some of these are more basic than others. But yeah, obviously I'm very active. How experienced are you? It's just kind of guessing, calorie stuff. Um, Weightlifting frequency. This is another topic that I'll go into in a different video. But guys, don't do an hour cardio a day and work out 7 days a week, please. Weights 4 or 5 days a week max. 2 days rest at least, please. Trust me, your body will thank me, especially when you're dieting. You don't have extra calories for recovery, and that kind of stuff, especially if you're doing a lot of cardio. If, for example, you're doing 7 days a week and you're running 1 hour and you're going to the gym for 7 days a week, you are going to put your body in a hole. I promise. I'm going to do another video on cardio, but just to quickly keep it simple, I'm an advocate of easy cardio. If your goal is weightlifting, whether that's powerlifting, bodybuilding, whatever, if your goal is to be really good at running, then run a lot, obviously. Then you can run, but then lower the weightlifting to maybe 3 or 4 days a week and try to um, pick what you want to be good at, because you can't be a jack of all trades. You're not going to be great at everything. So even if you do want to be good at both, maybe pick 3 to 6 months to focus on weightlifting, then 3 to 6 months on getting your cardio up to a good level, but maybe you're just doing 3 days a week, maintaining your lifts, something like that. Anyways, try to be honest about this kind of stuff, but when it comes to choosing how much cardio, I would always say start with something low, 20 minutes, walk your dog, go on a treadmill on incline, walk for 20 minutes, a couple 4 or 5 days a week, slowly ramp it up to 7. You do not need to start at 7 days a week, going for 1 hour, going to the gym 6 days a week, lifting weights. What are you going to do? What are you going to add? If you're already on low calories and you're doing all this, what are you going to do? 2 hours of cardio? You're going to, you know what I mean? Like, there's not a lot of places to go, whereas if you start off with medium calories, going to the gym 5 days a week, cardio maybe 4 or 5 days a week, then you can add a day, you can churn the minutes, maybe you're at 20, go up to 30, go up to 35, you know what I mean? Like, you can ramp it up a little bit. Maybe instead of walking, you start jogging 3 of those days. Like, there's a bunch of different ways you can do it, but just don't start off balls to the walls. Trust me, I know it seems more is better. More is not better when it comes to your body. Your body doesn't like being shocked. Your body's like, fuck you, I don't like this. So when you gradually move into things, you got to realize, when you gradually change things from a shitty diet, not working out, not doing any cardio, and you do a little bit of cardio, you start working out, and you fix your diet, the weight's going to fly off automatically. You're not even going to have to try. You can work out like a pussy in the gym, and it doesn't matter. If you've never been to the gym, you'll look at weights, and you will get bigger. So don't think you need to work out like Ronnie Coleman the first week you're in the gym. Just take it easy. You do want to train hard. Eventually you'll get there. When I first went to the gym, just so you guys know, I was benching like the bar and like 5 pounds on the side. I was squatting like 210s. I was weak as shit. Like, I was honestly so weak. And I was doing an hour of cardio a day, going to the gym 7 days a week, eating like 1,800 calories. I had no progress. I remember, I think I side lateral curled, like, or side lateral raised 12.5 pounds for what seemed like 3 years. Well, I don't think it was actually 3 years, but that's what it seemed like. It seemed like my shoulders literally never grew. They never got stronger or anything until I started eating. So keep that in mind. The lower the calorie deficit, the more likely you are to gain muscle as well while dieting. And you got to think, right? If you're dieting and you don't want to look like a skeleton when you're done, don't start off at a 1,500 calorie deficit and expect to look like you have abs and everything at the end of it. Like, you were going to look bad. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing to not have abs or whatever, but I'm just saying, if your goal is like to look like a runner or a swimmer or Brad Pitt in fucking Fight Club or whatever, you don't need a lot of muscle to do that, but you need a little bit. You need some muscle, and if you don't gain any while you're dieting, you're just gonna look like those guys. You're like a skeleton. You're just gonna look you're just gonna look skinny. You're gonna look skinny. You're not gonna look impressive. And if your goal is just to be skinny, that's fine. I'm not judging people that want to be skinny. Honestly, that's fine. I don't judge anyone on anything. If you want to do keto, carnivore diet, you want to do any of this stuff, that's totally fine. That's totally up to you. If it works for you, great. I'm just not a huge fan of negating entire food groups. I think there's benefits to micronutrients from vegetables, antioxidants from fruit, that kind of thing. So I like to keep those in at all costs in a diet. Obviously, if you're going to a bodybuilding show, the last 4 weeks can get kind of brutal, but for the most part, you should be able to keep those foods in for quite a while. Now it's going to ask you for this, whatever, and then it's going to send it to your email. Like I said, they changed this site. I don't like it as much anymore. It tells me I need 3,100 calories to lose weight. My base metabolic rate, activity every day, is around 3,600. That's wrong. I'm a little bit higher than it says because I'm losing weight on higher calories than it says. But it doesn't take into account that I have a lot of muscle, and it probably assumes I'm more of like a regular person that's a little bit overweight when I weigh 232 pounds. Um, okay, so once you get the calories, I'm just going to start off with like just a regular guy. So let's say to lose weight, you need 2,500 calories, and let's say your maintenance is 3,000. So for the most part, if you weigh 180 pounds and you're like 5'10", and you're like, okay, I want to get to 165 and I want to gain some muscle and I want to look better, minus 300 calories, minus 500, somewhere in that range, depending on your time frame, is probably going to do you better. Now, when you're a lot bigger, like let's say you weigh 350 pounds, you can be a bit more aggressive with that. You can lose a lot more weight because you have so much fat. That's more energy your body can draw from. It's going to be a lot healthier for you to lose weight at a bigger weight than it is for someone that's not that far off from their goal. So if you want to lose 4 pounds a week when you weigh 400 pounds, that's fine. But I wouldn't advocate someone that's 200 pounds to lose 400 pounds, 400 pounds, lose 4 pounds a week. I think that's a recipe for disaster. You got to remember when you're doing these diets, unless you're trying to go to a wedding in a month or a beach party or impress a girl in 2 weeks or something, you want to do it slow and steady. You want to make a lifestyle change. You don't want to be craving food 24/7 because it's going to make it so much harder. Like when I diet, people are like, my girlfriend, her friends, my mom, they're always like, do you want this food? And I'm like, no, like I literally don't crave the food because I can eat all the time. I eat 5 or 6 times a day, depending on the day. And each meal is substantial size, like if you follow me on Instagram, you can see each one of my meals is not tiny. So I understand that I'm a little bit bigger, I'm taller, I have more muscle than the average person, so that helps, but I also earned that muscle, you know what I mean? So the more muscle you have, the more fun you're going to have in the future. And that's actually one of the reasons that I wanted to get more muscle in the first place, is because like I was like, I don't want to eat 2,000 calories for the rest of my fucking life. Fuck that. So I wanted to be a little bit bigger for that reason as well. Anyways, that rant over. Let's say you're just an average guy, you're going to diet on 2,500 calories, which I would say is pretty normal for a lot of medium-sized guys. So 2,500 calories, how are you going to divide your calories up? Now, I made another video, and I swear I talked about this for like 20 minutes, and I made it way too complicated, so I'm going to simplify it. You have two options, in my opinion. Option one is you eat the same calories every day. So you don't change it depending if you're rest day or training day. It doesn't matter. You just eat the same. So it's a 500 calories. It's going to be great. So how would you do that? Let's say you're going to do, first I'd always start with protein. So there's a huge debate. There's always a debate on how much protein you should eat. Is it 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight? No, it's 1 gram. No, it's 1.5. All I can say is no one has exact science or proof of any of this. All I can say is if your goal is to be a giant bodybuilder, eat more protein. If you just want to be a regular fit dude, 0.8 to 1 gram is going to be totally fine. Okay? So for me, I eat 1.3 to 1.5 times protein of my body weight every day. So I eat around 300 to 360 grams of protein every day. You guys might be like, oh, that's way too much. Cool. It works for me. I like a lot of protein. I like eating protein. I like being able to be full. Protein keeps you full for longer. It doesn't seem to slow my weight loss down. I've literally tried eating 230 grams of protein versus 350 for 2 weeks. I lost identical weight. There was a study done that showed exactly what I tried after I read the study. Is they had one group, I'm just going to make up numbers, eating 3,000 calories. The other group was eating the same macros as them, but they were just eating 1.5 times protein of their body weight on top of the calories. So like, let's say they were eating 33,000, they were eating like 3,300, but the extra calories was just lean protein. So like an extra chicken breast or 2 or 3 scoops of whey. It was not, they weren't eating more carbs or fats, and they actually had better results than the other group. I can try to find the study and link it, but at the end of the day, protein's expensive. If you're not trying to be a pro bodybuilder or maximize muscle gains, it's probably not necessary. So kind of pick it around your goals. So if you don't care that much, point eight's totally fine. But when I hear point eight, I think of point eight as being like point eight is like the like amount that is required. But if you're like trying to be a pro bodybuilder or something, like, do you want to get like the minimum requirement? Wouldn't you want a little bit more of the nutrient that's going to build the building blocks of all your muscles? It also builds hair. It also helps your hair, skin, nails, organs. It's not just used for muscle. Anyways, like I said, you could talk about this for years. But pick one of those numbers: zero point 0.8, 1 gram, or 1.5. Somewhere pick one of those three and then just try it. Like I said, you can just do experiments on yourself as well. So for the sake of this, I'm just gonna do one. I'm just gonna keep it easy. So we're gonna say this guy is 200 pounds, eating 2,500 calories. So one is easy. He needs 200 grams of protein. Awesome, great. So for me, protein doesn't change that much in the diet. Even if you're 190, 185, you can lower the protein with you if you want. I kind of leave it the same, and I don't really see much negative. Like I said, like, it doesn't seem to matter that much. Like, I don't think eating an extra 20 grams of protein is gonna be the reason you don't lose weight. Just like I always give my clients infinite vegetables in my diets, I've never had someone stall and be like, oh, you know what, you're eating too much spinach. So like, two things not to worry too much about is eating a little bit too much protein or too much vegetables. Everything else though, you want to be fucking anal. You want to be like a Nazi about them, okay? Um, so um, So the next macro you want to find out is your fats. So we're doing the same calories every day for 7 days of the week, right? So how do you determine your fats? Well, fats are a little bit dependent, but you got to remember, you want a minimal amount of fats in your body no matter how hard you're dieting. So if you're natural male or female and you're not taking any exogenous hormones, you need fats to produce testosterone and other things, brain function. I'm telling you, if you go to 10 grams of fat a day, you're going to lose fat faster, but you're also going to get like this weird brain fog. Your testosterone is probably going to start dropping over time. Not in a week, not in 2 weeks, but over the course of, a 3-month diet, you're going to feel shitty at the end. It's one of the reasons why any natural bodybuilder looks like really stringy and they lose a lot of weight after they get kind of below that 10%, because their calories have to go down so much that they have to lower their fat and keep their protein high. And at the end of the day, without anabolics supplying you with like the fake hormones that you wouldn't be able to produce because your calories are so low, you just dwindle. So another sign of if someone's on steroids or not is when they're at 5% body fat. If they just look full and thick and like they've lost no muscle, well, there's your answer. Anyways, so for a natural person, you want to have a base level of fat. Now, I've always heard it's between zero point 0.3 to 0.45 is somewhere in that range, is going to be good for most people. Um, Everyone's a little bit different. Some people feel better on higher fats, medium carbs or lower carbs. Some people feel better on high carbs, medium low fats. Me. Whenever you see your favorite Instagram model or bodybuilder and they're eating like no fats, they're on steroids. That's all I'm going to say. I get sick of people telling me that like fats make them fat and X or Y or Z is eating this just, rice and chicken all the time. I'm like, yeah, because he doesn't need to produce anything. He doesn't need to do that. So try to understand that, please. That you can't always copy what other people are doing. You got to do what makes you feel good. Everyone is different. So I would advocate, if you're not taking fish oils, salmon twice a week for your essential fatty acids, and making sure you get some cholesterol and saturated fats in your diet, because those things are going to help produce testosterone. Now, you can Google the minimum amount. I'm not exactly sure what it is. All I know is in most of my diets, I eat beef and eggs and everything, so you'll be fine. Now, if you're one of those people that you avoid those things and you're eating more like coconut oil, no, actually that's saturated. I don't know. You're just eating a lot of like healthier fats like olive oil and stuff, then maybe you want to start incorporating, some of the other sources. Anyways, so when you're doing fats, you can do, so you weigh 200 pounds, you can go on the high side, which would be 0.45, that put you at 90 fats. If you do this, you're going to get a lot less carbs. So, like I said, it's kind of dependent on you. So we got 90 fats. So what do we do now? So we had 200 protein. Every gram of protein is 4 calories. Just remember that. Every gram of protein is 4 calories. So you times that by 4. So you got 800 calories of just your protein. That's going to stay the same every day. Then your fat, well, we're at 90 grams times 9. So every gram of fat is 9 calories. So that's 800. So that's easy. So you're at 1600 calories. And then you do 2500. So that was how much you're dieting on. And you minus the 1600 from that. Now you have 900 calories left. So all of this is going to go to carbs. So you get 225 grams of carbs. Now you could go lower on the fat to like maybe 0.3 or 0.35, and maybe you get 250 carbs or 300 carbs or something if you want more. But like I said, there's no right or wrong answer here. It's more about how you feel. I feel bad on low carbs. My gym performance suffers, that kind of stuff. So I like my carbs being a little bit higher, like I said. So there you go. You got 200 protein, 90 fat, 225 grams of carbs. Eat that 7 days a week. You're good. You're about a 500 calorie deficit. You're going to lose about a pound a week, because a pound of fat is 3,500 calories. 500 times 7 is 3,500 calories. So that's going to give you a pound of fat lost a week. Now, think about what would happen if you did minus 1,000. You would lose weight quicker, but when you're already at a 2,500 calorie deficit, unless you're very overweight or something, you're going to be eating basically no carbs, and your fats are going to come down a lot. So start off small and ramp up. Like if you start at 2,500 and you only lose 0.5, maybe cut out an extra 200 or 300 calories. You don't always have to go straight to 1,000. Like I said, these calorie calculators are not always going to be super accurate. So, and the speed in which you lose weight is really entirely up to you. I think slower is better. I think you'll gain more muscle in the gym. What I do is a little bit more complicated when I coach people. I optimize things a lot more, just because I change meal timings depending on the person. Like if you're overweight, carbs are out in the morning unless you train first thing in the morning. I time carbs a lot more around workouts, and I keep them away before bed, that kind of stuff. Carbs are not bad before bed. Don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, if you're working out in the middle of the day, you're going to get no carbs in the beginning and part, and they're all going to be in the middle. If you work on the evening, all your carbs are going to be kind of around your training. You're going to get a big spike after you work out, that kind of thing. So if your goal is maximal muscle, I think my way is better. But just as general fat loss and calculating your calories, this is the way. The way that I would do it, for people that are curious, I would do protein a bit higher than what I said. I like 1.5 or 1.3 to 1.5. I would do around there. My fats would be higher on my rest days, and my carbs would be lower. So instead of having like this even calories every single day for 7 days a week, I would have kind of like 2 training days where it's higher, and then the calories are a little bit lower on the rest day, and then 3 more training days that are higher, and then they're lower again on the rest day, and it kind of evens out to the same amount of calories. And on the rest days, I'm eating more fat. So, for example, just me myself, I would eat around 95 grams of fat on the rest day, and on the training day, I'd eat about 60, and my carbs would be about 380 to 400 on my workout days, and they'd be about 200 on my rest days. So there's a giant influx of carb difference and a pretty big fat difference as well. That's how I like to do things. It makes the workout days more productive. I feel like you have more energy in the gym when you have a lot of carbs around your workout. You get a better recovery with slamming yourself with carbs right after. Um, but yeah, that's generally the way I like to do things. But just for most people that aren't trying to optimize muscle gains or whatever, like what I explained will totally work. Like I said, in fitness, there's so many different ways to do things. There's not a right or wrong way. The only right answer is that you're in a calorie deficit. Now, when people talk about food sources, these motherfuckers that are telling me that oats and Pop Tarts are interchangeable is like, yeah, technically in the sense of like weight loss they are, but um, in how you build muscle, how your body processes the nutrients, how your digestion feels, will be a lot better if you're eating more clean sources. You know, if you're eating a meal that's like spinach, potatoes, peppers, and a leanish steak versus a Pop Tart and a bagel and what's a shitty meat source? Processed deli meat or something, like which one's going to digest better? Which one's going to have a better insulin response in the body? Which one is going to make you feel more energetic? It's going to be the steak and potatoes every time, you know. So um, you could eat some shitty peanut butter on a bagel and a protein shake, and like, yeah, that's like a medium option, you know, like that's in between the Pop Tart and the steak, you know, like you can I do it sometimes too, man. Like sometimes you got to go, you're going to be gone for 5 hours and you don't have a meal ready. It's fine, you know, you can always have a bagel, some peanut butter, and bring a shake. You know, it's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad, but like you should try to be eating the healthier foods more often, the whole foods. Um, Keep your fruits and your veggies in your diet. Obviously, the further you get in a diet, the less carbs you're going to have. So the fruits, people start getting rid of fruits. But what I would actually do is if you have a meal with like 50 carbs in it, maybe slash the carbs to 40 and have 10 grams of carbs from blueberries or strawberries or something on the side with it, you know, and it's good. It's not going to hurt your weight loss at all. It's going to be good for you. Your liver actually runs on fructose. So if you don't have any fructose, it can actually cause lethargic feelings in your body. It can make you feel more tired. So even eating a little bit of fruit can help. And the better your liver runs, the more fat is going to be oxidized, the better your body's going to feel, the better you're going to feel. So keep that in mind when you're just cutting corners around things. Like at the end of the day, weight loss is weight loss, and you're always going to be healthier being 200 pounds instead of 300 pounds. But also food quality matters, you know. So try to make the best choices. You don't have to make the best choices 100% of the time. Like if it fits your macros, to me, is more like eat 80 to 90% healthy and eat like 10 or 20% kind of what you want. You know what I mean? Like that's how I would think it's acceptable. Not eat 100% whatever you want as long as it hits your calorie needs or like I don't think that is the long-term play at all. So anyways, I hope this video was a little bit educational. I might even do a couple side videos on top of this because it's so much information and it's so hard to construe properly that if I've been confusing or contradicted myself, just post in the comments and I'll try to correct myself or answer any questions that you guys have. Um, Anyways, thanks for watching. Peace.